What's up? What's up? Thank you for tuning in to the Profit Desk. I'm Dexter,
I'm Daniel.
and as always, we thank y'all for continuing to rock with us. Today, we've got a special topic for y'all. We're going to be talking about staying versus leaving.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be a real good one. As always, we always start with the hot topics and catch you up on some news that was happening during the week. So let's get with it. Um, let's see here. Starting first, I think we'll start with um, our wonderful president. So, get this. Biden has decided that we will not be moving forward with student debt relief. However, he does say that payments will be easier to make in 2022. But any discussions of student debt relief will no longer be had. The $10,000 you were hoping for has been ex-nayed. So, what do you think about that, man?
Surprise!
Right.
not, not really, right? He's been. If you look at his track record over the last year, he's been backing out on his promises that he's been making, right? And if you look at politics altogether, that's what politics do, right? They overpromise and underdeliver. So for you to expect anything less, um, yeah, to me, Biden is the same side. It's the other side of the same coin.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And shout out to my man Dylan. Dylan is definitely our most loyal viewer and
yeah.
my
Most
boy, my
definitely.
friend. Uh, yeah.
Shout out to Dylan. What's going on, Dilly Dill?
So DC said, shout out to the students. Man, this and come to think of it, I'm and now I don't have the hard statistics on this, right? But at least in the circles I was in, students were a large portion of the voting population that voted for Biden. So I find it it's kind of a little salt, a little bit of salt on the wound, right? Like um, that is a big piece of what students were hoping for, and a big portion of why they voted.
Yeah,
So that sucks, man. Dylan, thank you, man, for sure. We appreciate it.
appreciate it, Dylan.
Um, Yeah, so I don't think anybody's surprised by this. I don't think anyone's surprised at all, to be honest.
Yeah,
But anyway, moving along. Uh,
yeah. We're gonna have to delve deeper into that at later on a later episode, man.
yeah,
You
we've
know,
also we've also got an episode coming up. It looks like number 45, President Donald Trump has decided he will attempt to run again. I don't know what's going to happen regarding at this point they're still even talking about the failed impeachment proceedings and all that. So I don't know what's going to happen if he tries to run again, but he has already decided that he will attempt to run again in the 2024 election. So we're definitely going to have a show, a Biden versus Trump show, a Biden versus Trump show at some point. Um, from what I'm hearing, if Trump wins again, he'll win. If he runs again, he'll win by a landslide. Uh,
yeah,
so we'll have a whole discussion on that, and we'll see how that works out.
most definitely.
This says, I bet students that voted for him are surprised. I bet they are too. I
Yeah,
I, I can bet 100% that they are too. Yeah. Let's see here. Next in the stories, we got so the largest cryptocurrency deal just went down 22 million on a Miami condo. Um, then it says it went by a landslide. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I was like, it'll probably be so bad. Fashion Nova will start selling uh, "Make America Great Again" hats. It'll be that bad.
Oh
Fashion Nova
man.
starts slinging MAGA hats. You know it's bad.
Oh
Uh,
man.
but yeah, largest cryptocurrency deal was 22 million a condo in Miami. Um, it was actually listed for 11 million. And by the time it got sold for 22 million, purchased in crypto. What do you think, man?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Wow, 22 million.
Yeah,
I
22
don't
million.
think I would spend 22 mil on a condo. What you think?
Um, I'm not spending 22 million on a condo, let alone 22 million in crypto.
Yeah,
Do I plan to own some crypto? Absolutely. I do own crypto, as a matter of fact. I own quite a bit of it. But I don't know about spending 22 million on a condo, especially since I own a house and I'm still never home. So,
yeah.
so I can't even imagine spending 22 million on the condo. Dylan says that's sick. The future is high. Dylan, would you spend 22 million on a condo, man? Would you pay the ticket? Anybody else on this watching? We got a few people watching tonight. If you would spend 22 million on a condo, if you would pay the ticket, put it in the chat. Reasons why not? Why would you pay the ticket? I can't say that on the show, Dylan, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely can't say that on the show.
Yeah, we can. I'm sure we can. But he's absolutely right. Destroyed the comps in that area, right?
Yeah,
Get ready for your property taxes to go through the roof.
crazy.
But then what always happens next, right? You get a landslide of sellers taking advantage of the newfound equity in their property. They want to move somewhere else and see if they can kind of replicate this. So I think this will begin to start a landslide of crypto purchases when it comes to real estate.
Yeah, that last line down there where it says escrow goes crypto, that's significant, right?
Yeah. That's huge. That's huge. And we were talking about that, right? We're working on something along those lines. So you guys stay tuned. And if you're in the real estate space, we're working on something huge when it comes to NFTs and real estate. I think you guys will be excited about it.
Yeah, most definitely.
See, I just don't think the spender looked at it as 22 million. They looked at it as X amount of crypto it was, and they bought it for that amount really low. So to them, it was 500 Ethereum to 22 million, but they got that they got that 500,000 early on. Yeah, I agree with you. Then. Yeah, they got that. Yeah, so to them, it was just ETH, right? 500 ETH. So they didn't necessarily look at it as 22 million because they might have bought that 500 ETH back when Ethereum was only $100. They might have had it forever. So to them, it was a win. I totally get it, 100%. The last thing I think we wanted to cover is we're still going through this whole inflation thing, right? And I really don't know. So we're finally starting to see the actual bell curve in real estate. Real estate slowing down. For a moment, you couldn't have a house on the market for 48 hours before there were multiple offers on it and selling 20 to 30,000 over asking. And now we're starting to see a slowdown in that market. We're finally starting to see a drop in the bell curve. And one of the biggest states early on that's dropping is California. What do you think about that, man? What do you think about the finally starting to see a market slow down after these last crazy 18 months? Really?
The interesting thing about it is the slowdown is still higher than where we were 18 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the market average is actually several percentage points higher than we were before COVID started and before this whole appreciation in the market happened. And it's still, I believe that I think it's a slow tick down. And I believe that it's going to be a situation where it still lasts over the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Where people are still going to be priced out of homes, especially first-time home buyers, priced out of the market. I believe rents are still going to increase, and multifamily is going to be a more viable option. Actually, it is a more viable option for those who are looking for a place to one, live, and two, invest.
Yeah, if you're a person that's looking to house hack, which is buying a like Daniel said, a multifamily, you want to live in one unit and you want to rent out the other unit, so that the home or the property pays for itself. We're coming into a time where that's going to be better than ever. House hacking has always been a thing, and has always been a great way to establish cash flow and generate some wealth early on. But I think it'll be even more prevalent in the season of real estate that we're going into.
Most definitely.
Um, all right, so let's get to some statistics for tonight's show. So before we get into that, should you stay or should you go? Talking
Should
about
you stay or should you go?
um, and really, what we want to know is, um, economically speaking, where are you at when it comes to location? Right, location is everything. Location, location, location. We found an interesting statistic on blackdemographics.com, and it shows that for our African American brothers and sisters, we tend to migrate heavily in the southeastern United States, right? Um, However, that is not where the jobs are and where the economic opportunities are. So we want to discuss that a little bit, break it down a little bit, and find out what the real deal is. Should you stay or should you go? All right, let's get into it. Um, let's see here. All right, so starting from the top. So, where are the most jobs? And we're talking about um, black men being employed. Here are the top 5 metros in the country: Portland, Oregon, um, and Clarksville, Tennessee, also in Kentucky, San Jose, Santa Clara, California. Nobody wants to move there. Providence, Rhode Island, and Temple, Killeen, and Temple, Texas. Bottom five. Um is Florence, South Carolina, Tallahassee, Florida. Nobody wants to move there. Mobile, Alabama, Greenville, North Carolina, and Monroe, Louisiana. Um, Now, this is areas with working populations of 15 to 50,000. We'll get to the smaller populations a little bit, but what do you think about that so far, man?
Yeah, I want to ask, um, why do we find it more attractive to go to the southeast when we have other opportunities in other places? Is it is it a matter of comfort? Is it a matter of familiarity? Is it a matter of no other options? You know, uh, that's what I would like to know.
Um, I don't know, man. I know. I mean, for me, I was born and raised in Florida, so Florida's always been home. Most people don't even consider Florida the South. Kind of think of it as a place of its own. And if you're from where I'm from, I was born in Miami. Most people don't even consider Miami a part of Florida. So it's kind of weird that way. But um, I really don't know, man. There's this kind of thing where people are kind of, you're born and you just stay, you get stuck.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if it's more comfort. I know a lot of time. I know for me, a lot of it was leaning on family.
Hmm.
I have a very close knit type family, so I could not, for a long time, I could not imagine being, 2,000 miles away on the other side of the country.
Hmm.
So I don't know, man. I think it's very interesting. As a matter of fact, um, Brian says, yeah. Brian chiming in. But yeah, I could not imagine moving on the other side of the country.
What
Brian
type,
is somebody.
man? What type of yes is that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, Brian.
But that's my boy Brian moved from Chicago to Florida, so he
Okay.
took the leap. He moved across the country to start over. And it's,
Can hey. Oh, okay. He had a
it's a
few
it's a
drinks.
happy yes. was thinking, and I'm actually gonna send you a quick message, Daniel, on Slack, and let me know what you think.
Yes, if the message is have Brian come in and kind of talk about why he moved to Florida, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be good too. I think he's out at the moment.
Oh, is he out? Okay.
Yeah, I think he might be out. But definitely, Brian, if you want to jump on, man, we've got a couple of slots open. We'd love to have you come through. Um, as a matter of fact, hey Dylan, I don't know if you have well, I know you have the baby with you, but I don't know if you're putting her down. So if you want to come through, man, I am going to send you a link right now to come through and join the live, brother. We'd love to have you on and have you talk about this from your perspective as well. I know you're doing the family thing solo. Dylan's a single dad. Ladies, my man Dylan is single. So
Shout out to Dylan.
shout out to my man Dylan.
Shout out to all the single dads out there.
So I'm going to send you an invite, Dylan, if you get it, brother. Come on through, man. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, Dylan, he's in Texas, and Texans believe that they are their own country, not necessarily their own state. So Texas isn't considered part of the South either.
Texas, yeah, Texas, just like Florida, man. You live in Texas. You're not a part of the South. Texas is a part of the South. Florida's a part of the South. They're both pretty much their own their own thing, man.
Okay, so you say the top 5 metros are Portland, Clarksville, San Jose, Providence, and Killeen. So these are
Yeah.
areas where it's more advantageous for African Americans to go live, build their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. For
Okay.
specifically, this statistic is talking about African American men.
Okay.
When they talk about leading the household right now, economically and economics and education wise, Black women are still leading in education.
Yeah.
Most graduated, and I think they are 2.5 more times likely to graduate from college than Black men at the moment. However, financially, Black men are still leading the households at the moment. Black women aren't increasing their income, but Black men are still leading at the moment. So this statistic is based on households with African American leaders. I'm going to bring Brian on as well. Send it to you right now, brother. I'm sending it to you right now, man. So yeah, I think it'll be good. We're going to have a good little panel coming on here. So
yeah, a little powwow.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get some ladies on here, man.
We definitely need to. If the ladies are watching and you in the chat and you want to jump on, yeah, drop a comment so we can see you. And we'll definitely bring you up to hear your side of the story. This is a very testosterone filled show at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm feeling kind of cluttered right now.
So what do we think about the bottom 5 though? Because I think each of us knows someone that lives in those cities. Talking Florence, South Carolina, Tallahassee, Florida, Mobile, Alabama. Now that's one I don't know anybody that lives in Mobile, Alabama. Greenville, North Carolina, and Monroe, Alabama.
It could be a situation where the cost of living is lower there. So they feel like that, man, just starting out, cost of living is lower. I may be able to spread my dollar a little bit better, but that's not necessarily true because the cost of living is lower, and so is the average income.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a cyclical effect. It's a catch-22. You go there to start out, but you have to leave to advance.
Right. And one of the things that I struggled with in the beginning was what's up, Brian? What's up, brother? What's going on?
Big B.
What's going on?
It's good to have you, man. Good to see you, bro.
What's up?
One of the things that I struggled with in the beginning was how do you decide, right, where to go? I will say now that just up and leaving without a job opportunity just because you want to start somewhere fresh, I would say don't do
Yeah.
that. I would say don't do that, man. Have a plan. Have something in place where you want to go, where you want to be. Start doing some research. Start getting some boots on the ground, building relationships early. Um, but I definitely would not recommend just picking up and leaving just on a whim. Does it work? Yeah, my cousin did it. My cousin Brandon moved to California with $500 in his pocket, and he's been there for 10 years now, thriving, doing well. So, is it possible? Yes, absolutely possible. Would I recommend it? Absolutely not. So,
What's your take, Brian?
Man, listen, you guys hear me?
yeah, we
Yeah,
hear
we
you,
can
bro.
hear you loud and clear, man.
So my situation, man, is I don't know if it's typical. I don't know. Like I think Florida tested me to see if I really wanted to leave Chicago when I moved, to be honest with
Mm,
you. So I was doing very well where I was at in Chicago. You know, I was living at home with my mom's. Um, and I was doing pretty well. I was top 5 in the company. But I got this email. You know, at the time I was pretty ignorant. You know, I was pretty ambitious, and so I thought that if somebody told me I could make 6 figures somewhere else, then I was going right. And so I was making probably like 70, 85 at my job in Chicago, but I was living at home rent free. Obviously, knowing what bills are, after I moved, you know, I realized that I was doing great. Like I should have just stayed at home.
Mhm.
Um, but so my first month in Florida, most people would have gave up, right? And so what Dexter says, don't move without a plan. Definitely don't do that,
yeah.
because my whole experience was on a whim. So I had 2 weeks of paid vacation, and so I spent my first week in San Diego, and I realized that lifestyle was too rich for me at that time in my life. I saw 18-year-olds driving Porsches 911s. I saw that I was like, yeah, probably not the scene for me at this point in my life.
Mhm.
Uh, the weather was beautiful, and so were the people, but the amount of money that was just you needed to exist there was not in my price range at that point in time. And then I went and spent my second week in Orlando, and so my at the end of my second week in Orlando, I said, okay, let me look at the weather real quick. I'm waiting in the airport. I look at the weather, and I see it's snowing in Chicago. And so I'm like, okay. I look outside and it's 76 degrees, sunny, partly cloudy. And I was like, man, do I want to go back to the snow or do I want to stay where the weather is beautiful? So lo and behold, from that moment forward, I just stayed. I had no plan. I was done.
Mhm.
I just made a decision. I watched my flight take off. Right. I called my friend, now girlfriend at the time, or girlfriend currently. Said, hey, come pick me up. I'm not leaving. And so I never left. Never left. And so I had about 3 to 5 saved, 3 to 5 grand saved up. And for me, I was I was keeping that. I was spending it where I needed to, but I was putting down payment on an apartment coming up. Now here's where the experience really gets like here's where Florida's like, do you really want to be a Floridian or do you just like the idea of Florida? Okay. So I go back home. I pack up all my stuff. I fit everything into my Dodge Stratus, right? 2005 Dodge Stratus, white, 100,000 plus miles on it. I put the car on a trailer and have it driven down by somebody else because I wasn't driving it down here. But it gets down here. Same day it gets down here, moving to my apartment. I'm in Maitland, Florida. And that first week at my new job, I was working at TQL where Dex used to work. And my first week there, on the fourth day, the transmission blows out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah.
that the fourth day at that job, that transmission blows out. Not nobody. And if you're watching and you're, you know, I don't talk about this much because it was a part of my life that I was like trying to really discover myself. But I should talk about it more because a lot of people see where I'm at now and they don't know the struggle I actually went through. It was a damn struggle. So my transmission blows out, right? And now, and Dex knows this guy too. My boss at the time, Brian, old school military cat, very strict, very by the book. And he was like, hey, I understand, but you got to get reliable transportation or else, I have to let you go. So I said, okay. So the next week, right, that weekend that I'm not at work, I go to Walmart to purchase a bicycle. I'm 3 miles away from where I work at. Not an issue, right? 3 miles riding a bike is easy. I ran cross country in college. I ran 50 to 70 miles a week. I can do 3 miles on a bike, no problem. The third day I have that bicycle, someone drives by, and I'm not sure if they were racist, whatever the case was, doesn't matter. Full big gulp of dip spit at me when it startles me because I have my headphones in. So they throw this big gulp at me. And because I'm startled, right, I press down on the handlebars. I guess the sheer force that I press down on it, it goes I guess the screw comes loose or something. But I hit down, I pop the front tire, I flip over the tire, and that bike is trashed now. Oh, wow. So within the first 2 weeks of me existing in the state of Florida's like, okay, here's strike 2. Let's see what you do now.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like, okay. I call my boss again. And I promise you, I'm sure it's what he thought. This kid's just moved here. He's probably trying to get out of work. I can see how it looks now. But at the time, I was legit just trying to get to work. That's all I was trying to do. So I said, okay, nothing's less reliable than myself. I'm going to run to work. And you can ask anybody that I worked with. I ran 3 miles to work every morning. And I got a ride back from somebody. And I pay for gas with my check for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I would run 3 miles to work in the morning, like 5 a.m. I had a spare clothes there. I would go to the restroom, change, and then I would just work all day, right? And get a ride back. And I was good. My boss at the time said, no, your legs are not as reliable as a car. You need to have a reliable transportation. What is more reliable than me? Like, if you can't see that I want this job from me running to work every morning, like, I don't know what else to show you. You know what I mean? And I think that was the real turning point for me, was like, man, like, if you truly, it's really about either who you know or it's about, your gift of the gab. Because granted, I'm a month into this new job, just moved here. I haven't even gotten my first paycheck yet. I'm, still trying to figure out Florida, still trying to figure out friends. I haven't even met Dex at this point. I've heard of Dex, but I haven't met Dex yet. Right. And so, and we can get in that story too. I annoyed the hell out of Dexter to just meet this man. But it was crazy, man. Like my first month in Florida was like, nah, you gotta apply, you gotta test to be here. And wow. I'd say now I passed the test, but those first few weeks, if you don't have a plan, especially for Florida, because I'm a firsthand testimony. If you're not ready for Florida gonna make sure you're ready for Florida after. Like, have a plan for the state of Florida, because it's a different animal, man. It's a different animal.
Okay, so Brian, real quick, for those who are watching, what would you say is a good plan before moving? What are some things that you would have to plan for going through that whole experience? What are some things that you would definitely have to have in place before moving?
I think you need to have a solid relationship with those who support you before you move. That was the biggest thing for me that I probably had, but I was too insecure to reach out to ask for help. Right. And that was probably what set me back the most, was because me being too ashamed to ask for assistance, I might have been able to keep the Dodge Stratus. So I didn't tell you this, like, the car got repossessed. Car's gone.
Okay.
Right. Everything inside the apartment, gone. My golf clubs I moved down here with and my dad gave me, gone. Everything gone. I had one duffel bag of clothes. I literally had to restart my entire life after I moved down here, because they took everything. Like, they took it all. And so maybe if I was a little bit more open to accepting help, right, I could have said, hey, Dad, hey, Mom, I'm this is what happened. Like, can you spot me this until I get another job, get back on my feet? I could have kept the apartment. I could have kept the car, at least one or the other, but I wouldn't have lost my golf clubs.
Sure.
Like that was one of the big things that I
That
wanted
hurt.
was to play more golf. You know what I'm saying? And so I think the biggest thing, if you're gonna move somewhere, have a solid relationship with your support system, because you never know if you're gonna need it. I had no intention of moving down here and losing my damn car or getting a transmission blowout within the first week of me being here. I had no intention of that happening. Right. But here I am on cloud 9 because my last job I was top 5 in the company. I'm killing it. You know what I'm saying? These people call me and say, hey, we can promise you'd make 6 figures if you come work with us. Okay, great. I'm living the high life now. Like, yo, I'm good. They got no sales tax in Florida, no income tax. No income tax in Florida. Perfect. Let's do it. And I was very ignorant at the time. So if there's anything I would say have more than anything, like it gets discounted. I don't think it gets appreciated enough. But like if I'm looking back, had I had a scholarship with like my day ones, you know what I mean? Like the family members, I'd say that was probably where I would have maybe skipped a couple steps in the rebound. I'm not regretting any of the decisions I made because obviously now it made me a better person. But if you are going to take a leap and move somewhere brand new, just make sure before you do, you know, if you do have friends where you currently are, you do have family where you currently are, make sure those relationships are solid and then go, because you can at least bounce ideas off. I didn't even do that. I didn't even tell my mom or my mom and my dad had no idea I was homeless until I told them like months later. They had no idea. No. And so it's like, it's a whole different animal when you can tell somebody, hey, like, this is what happened. Who could have predicted somebody would have thrown a big gulp of dip spit at me and I would have freaked out, flipped over my damn bicycle? Like, who would have predicted?
Welcome to Florida, man.
Yeah, like,
only Florida people could have predicted that.
You know what I mean?
Dylan,
like,
welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on, Dylan?
Dylan,
man, you made it through the mud, man, for real. Life tested you, you passed it. And Florida, like you said, man, that's a different animal, man. It ain't no joke. It don't matter where you're from, you know Florida's different.
Yes. Yeah. Listen, I'm truly grateful for, and like I said, Dex and I didn't even meet until after I got like all that, everything I just told you. Dex and I didn't meet till after that, because I was very adamant after all that stuff happened to me and I lost my job. I was like, yo, so here's how Dex and I met. You know, just going off a little bit off topic real quick, but Dex and I met because Dex used to work at the same company I used to work at, and then Dex was working for himself now. So here I am. I'm like, okay, well, now I have no job. I've heard about Dex. Now I need to meet Dex because I need to be, if he's working for himself, it's obviously something he could teach me. So let me go ahead and try to meet this guy, see if I can provide value for him. And then vice versa.
Let me go be his competition. That's what you heard, Dex.
Yeah, Dex was whooping the hell out of me. Dex was like, this man is COVID.
I was not going for it. We were actually in a group chat with a couple different co-workers at the moment. Former co-workers, right? And they were like, oh, and he was like, hey, I just moved from Chicago and to Florida. Where you at, man? I want to come see you. And I would completely ignore this guy. Like, we are not having this conversation.
wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Isn't that how the best friendships start?
Yo, for real, this man treated me like I was a bad ex, man. This man was like, yo, I'm not responding to you at all.
One of my best friends was the same way when we met. Like, he was like, I don't like you. He would ask other people in the company, like, why is that Dylan guy so happy all the time and smiley? And they were like, that's just him, man. He ain't faking it. He's like, I don't know. Like, he was on house arrest at the time. So he was like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't trust people and stuff. And so we ended up working at a location together, just him and I. And when you're working 12 hours with just one other person, you get to know each other pretty quickly, you know, inevitably. And so he's from Houston. And so we started talking about music, and I started naming off all these Houston artists that he didn't even, like, he would not have expected that I would have known. And we started playing DJ Screw in our store and stuff, which is not the store to play DJ Screw in at all. And we had a great time. And from then on, we've just been kicking it, became really good friends, man. So it's sometimes that wall, you got to make it through that the same way you had to make it through Florida, you know? You had to make it through the trenches in life. And sometimes with valuable friendships, you got to make it through those beginning trenches as well.
Yo, for real. That is probably we need to, hey, can we get like a buzzer? Dun, 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 dun. Like, that's like, that is what we need. Yes, exactly. Dropping bombs.
Let me ask, what do you when it comes to living, you're in Texas, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to living in Texas, man, what are your thoughts on the economy? What would your advice be for anybody who wants to live there? And where you're located, by the way?
I'm in San Antonio, and relatively in Texas, you can live pretty inexpensively here and get by. Like there's certain parts of town where the rent is half the price of the other side of rent for the same features. You know, it's just your neighbors aren't going to be as friendly, you know, and those are the risks that you have to take. You know, we are very, like, we got a south side, we got an east side, we got a west side, we got a north side, like most cities do, but you could almost like draw the line in it. Like when you drive across the street on the south side, you know you're on the south side, like immediately. Like there's no question about it. And it's crazy like that. You wouldn't, like when I went to LA, it wasn't like that. Like you would drive through a rectangle and you would go through so many different statuses of life, you know, from high quality to low quality. And then here it's like, no, everything is super divided. And you might find like little gems within that, but there's a huge divide. So I think that if like the question is, should you have a plan? Yeah, absolutely. Of some sort. You need to be doing something in order to continue to make some sort of income. And the blessing is, in the day and age that we live now, is that that's kind of easy to do. You can do it in a lot of different ways. You know, I've seen people make Amazon money by just making free journals, and they don't even have to publish it themselves. You know, if you have a car that, you know, your grandma had a stroke and so she leaves you a car, you can just put that thing in your name, start Ubering right away, start making money next week. You know, it's really about like, how resourceful are you going to be with the time that you have? Because if you have time, you can make money. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can make money.
You're resourceful.
You have to be resourceful. And I think that a lot of people lack that. And that's where the issue is if you may not even necessarily know like where you're going to go, but you may know what you're going to do. Whereas in some people plan for, where am I going to go? And they have no clue what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So then when they get there, wherever it is that they're going to go, you know, my friend's couch, my ex, my parents, whenever they get there, now they're back like, oh man, what do I do? You know? And that's tough. So I would plan for the, what are you going to do, before I plan for the, where am I going to go? As crazy as that sounds, I think that it's really important to treat your mind like a computer and put it to work. And
I agree with you so much, because it kind of ties back into our conversation that we had a couple weeks ago. And I'm pretty sure Daniel asked me this question, but the school system, right? So you're the question, not even the question, but you said a statement. You said, how resourceful are you going to be with the time that you have? But most people aren't even taught how to be resourceful, because from the time we're in kindergarten until we graduate, we're being told what to do. We're never told, okay, you know, can you think for yourself enough to create something? Yeah, Like, even if you're working with a group project, the group project is usually one person doing it, because they always tell us you can't work together, you can't cheat off each other. We take a test. They say, okay, would everybody do it by yourself to see if you know the information? That's not how life works. Like right now, I don't know anything
on every test.
I don't know anything about real estate. Like, compared to Dexter and Daniel, I know nothing about real estate, right? So I go to them. In real life, that's not cheating. That's called being resourceful.
Right.
Using your damn brain. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't have the same passion to study that material as they do. That's just a fact. And vice versa. Like, if Dexter wants a question answered about credit, he comes to me. Like, I have the passion to study it, so I can give somebody the answer. It's not cheating in real life. In school, you're cheating. Hey.
Yeah. You learn how to diversify in school, and that's bad.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Daniel, go ahead, Brian.
No, you good. I was just saying, like, I just want to agree with Dylan. I'm like, yo, like, it's how resourceful you can be, but like at the same time, people aren't taught to be resourceful, and if they don't have that gene, it's a gene you have naturally. Honestly, if you don't have the gene to just seek out information without being told to seek out information, then you kind of stuck, and that's what the system is hoping for. You know what I mean?
What do you think that gene is? Do you think it's curiosity or something more tied with like hyper intelligence?
I would probably, for me personally, I've grown up kind of torn between two lifestyles. I grew up single mother, one income family household, and so I've lived this part of not having as much money as when I went and moved into a two-parent household. And then I saw what it was like when I went to friend's house and they had two-parent income money, like real two-parent income
And
money.
you were like, "Whoa, this is what rich is like."
Yeah. And so I think
No,
I think
I had a single mom too. I know exactly what he's describing.
bro, like for me, it was definitely curiosity. I'm not even gonna lie. For me, it was curiosity. Like I'm just like, okay, clearly y'all doing something different. Like why y'all got two turkeys and I got one?
Yeah.
Why y'all
How
got
come y'all got
presents
two
under each
ovens?
tree? Why y'all got two trees and two presents under each tree? I got one. Like what's going on here? I'm trying to figure it out. And so for me, it's curiosity. That's
I
what
think
it
so
is.
too.
Well, speaking of two parent households, Darren, you're a family man. You've got a wife, 3 kids. What goes into a decision when you think about moving? How does that all factor in for you?
Yeah, a lot factors in for that because even before you move, you have a partner that you have to confer with. Say, hey, I have this opportunity. So I have this opportunity in this other state. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. And those of you who have either wives or spouses or girlfriends or significant others, partners, whatever you want to call it, if they're of the female persuasion, they have a lot of questions.
Facts.
Right? And you have to, so if you know that, you have to be able to come with a plan of what this move is going to look like, right? So you have to say, okay, this is how much I'm making. This is how much you can make. This is the area that we're going to live in. This is the school system that we're going to be. I'm looking at the kids to look at, to go to attend. The area that we're living in may not be where we want to right now, but because we're starting out, we have to start here. But the projection is over time we're going to move to this specific area that will more fit our lifestyle from where we came from, or it could be something parallel to where we were. But yeah, you have to have a plan. So that's why I was asking Brian and even Dylan, like, hey, what does that look like? What would you advise other people moving from one place to another? Is it a situation where you just pick up and move because you just don't like where you are? Or it's a situation where you're systematic, where you're looking at, jobs, what they're paying, what you're going to get paid as opposed to what you're currently getting paid. What does housing look like? Is there some type of plan to put, reserves away before you make that move, just to be able to have a buffer just in case, life smacks you in the mouth like Florida did Brian? What is the plan? Or is it a situation where you just say, I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants and just make that move, and whatever happens, happens. And then you use the excuse of, Steve Harvey said jump, so I'm going to jump. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, with me, I have to have a plan, because if I don't, I have to have total buy-in. So I'm kind of like the CEO of my family, right? The CEO has to create buy-in for the whole company. They lay out the plan. This is the vision. This is what it looks like. And usually, if you do it well enough, your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, she will be able to map out what that looks like, right? And as soon as you give it to her, because women are multipliers, right? We give them an idea and they find out how to do it 4 or 5 different ways, right? We consummate and they make babies, right? They multiply what we give them. I'm not trying to be funny. You know,
It's so real.
Yeah, 100%.
We
it's
plant, yeah, we plant the seed, and they spit out babies. Not literally, you know.
Right?
but,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Right.
It's a situation where
You didn't understand what Daniel's saying. Yeah, you probably real lost right now. But yeah, I get it.
it's a situation where procreation doesn't happen without the woman.
Right.
Multiplication doesn't
Absolutely.
happen without a woman, right? So it's in your best interest to
Mhm.
get her on your side, have a plan, to say, okay, this is what it looks like. These are my prospects over the next 2 to 3 years, over the next 6 months, over the next 3 months, over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And today, this is what the plan is for what 2 years is going to look like.
Yeah. I want to touch on that if I can real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I gave you my Florida story, but if let's say today, like, so for example, there's been a few things since that date where I've had to convince my other half to either buy in or we're not going to do something. Right.
Okay.
So for example, a couple months ago, everything in crypto was red. Right.
Mhm.
And I knew because I got a plug who studies crypto all day long. He told me to buy a lot of CRO, right? That crypto.com coin. He said, buy a lot of it. So at the time, I didn't have as much as I wanted to have to buy into it. So I said, hey, I need to borrow some funds from the savings account we got. I got to put it all in CRO.
Yeah.
But I was very adamant about, like, we need to do this now. Like, it's not a joke. I'm not texting you like, oh, I think this is going to work. No. We need to do it now. Because of the conviction, like you said, how well you sell it. She said, okay, no problem. Whatever you need, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now that bitch took off. We up 4,000%. Right. CRO is now sponsoring UFC fights. Now they're sponsoring, damn
Lakers
near
Arena,
They have their own stadium.
Yeah.
got their own stadium. Like it's crazy now. And I was like, it's just to touch on what Daniel was saying. Like, if you can sell it to your other half, you're gonna multiply like crazy. So now that we up 4,000 something percent, like, it's like, okay, now we got options. Right. And so we went to look at a house today, and it was in the 700K range. Right. A couple years ago, we would never look at it. But now, okay, if we look at it and I decide it's a pull, all I need to do is contact Daniel and Dexter and say, hey, how can I make this work? I don't like the question isn't can we afford it, is how do we make it work? Like, it's a whole different question now. Like, you learn so much information and you can apply it, you will make a decision. Now you just find someone who can help you explain it or help you figure it out. And that's the part that I love so much about learning new information. Like, that's the part that for me changed everything. My whole journey, and Dexter will tell you this, I started a year ago. I was in like 410s, 420s in the credit space, right? Scores. And I didn't know at the time, right? I'm not even sure Dexter knew this. Maybe he did, I didn't. But you can actually survive off of just one credit reporting agency. So if you just have a beautiful Experian, I can point you in direction of 200 to 500K just from Experian. Or if you have a beautiful Equifax, I can put you in direction of beautiful 200 to 500K in Experian or Equifax. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't need all three. We've been sold this bill of lies that we need all three to look nice. You don't need all three.
Wait, hold on, time out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
time out.
Time
out. Dexter.
Yes, sir.
Next show, he needs to be on, and he needs to talk about credit.
All right.
I'll be there. I'll be tuning in for sure.
When you come through, all right, for sure.
Yeah, he needs to talk about credit for all the people who are in the situation that, they feel like, because he just dropped a gem. He dropped a major gem. You can survive on one, what is it called?
Credit reporting agency. They're not credit bureaus. First of all, I want to make sure I clear that up right now. Don't call them a credit bureau. That gives them more clout than they need. They don't. They're a reporting agency, which means they report to somebody, and that the bureau they report to is the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Okay, so stop, because you're getting into your bag,
You're getting the next show material.
Yeah, you're getting your next show material, and that's just a teaser, right?
Yeah.
So we need you to stop.
All right.
Don't say anything else about credit. Thank you. We appreciate
Yes.
it. Go back to you selling this whole thing with your wife.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So next week we'll do that then. My fault. Listen.
Okay. Wait. So we won't have a show next week because it's the holidays.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we're gonna get back with you, sir.
We need the credit show. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna get back with you, sir. I promise you. And it's gonna be crazy. I promise you, the ratings are gonna be crazy. But could you really talk about and focus in on the fact that you had to go to your significant other and convince her that the decision was the best decision to make? And could you even, if you could you even talk about past wins? Did you have past wins?
Yes.
That you came through on that supported this decision?
Yes. So beautiful. Okay, so I got you. So I'll line it up perfectly. So to piggyback, Daniel was saying that women are multipliers, right? It's 100% true. 100% true. Without my other half, I'd be nothing. And that's not, everybody says that when they get married, but it's like 100% fact. Like if you don't say it to your woman now, say it, and you'll enjoy what happens after you say it. But listen. The thing is that before the CRO play, some of the wins I had prior to that were, the first one I had was when I officially got fired. So I was doing very well at the job I was at a year ago. And I told Dexter this. Dexter knew. I was number one trainer for my role. I was an insurance instructor. But I got let go because I was given a team of brand new agents, but they didn't have all their systems they needed. And because of that, I wasn't able to train them properly. So when it came time, it was not a catch-22, but it was like a perfect storm of shit. COVID happened, had a terrible team. And then it was like, okay, well, we got to let go of the lowest hanging fruit. And that was me. So they let me go, which in reality was a mistake because I was kind of the highest hanging fruit. I was just training the lowest team to help the company increase their bottom line. But that was fine. So the first win was I said, hey, listen, I'm going to get one more check from this company. I need to put it into a mentorship. So I'm not going to be able to help you with rent for the month. I'm not going to be able to help you with bills for this month because that's my last check. But once I learn this material, I'm going to go ahead and use material to get like 10 free clients. And after I get those 10 free clients, we'll start making money. At the time, there was no money coming in the picture for 60 days at least. Right. So that means all the bills fell on her for 60 days at least. Right. She said, okay, no problem. Do you think it's going to work out? I said, yes, it's going to work out. So, okay, I'll take care of it. If you don't have one of those, break up right now.
Yeah.
Because like, seriously, like that was clutch because after that, everything took off. Right. My first year after I did that, my first year in business, I did 6 figures. And we never looked back since. But prior to that, had she said no, you know what I'm saying? Like it a whole different story. But because of that first win, when I called her a few months later, I said, hey, I know you're at work right now, but I need you to transfer me any funds we have to put in CRO. She said, okay, no problem. Because she was starting to see the results of the previous win. She said, okay, whatever you need, we'll do it. Last month, I think Dex even sent me a picture of the acquisition for Nadex.
Yeah.
Right? You see that?
Yep. CRO purchased Nadex, yeah.
Yeah. We were up 4,000% at that point in time. So I have invested maybe $2,000 into this CRO. Mm-hmm. It was all under 9 cents at the time. I'm now up to like 8 to 10 grand right now.
By the way, CRO was on a dip. It's at 58 cents, I think, right now.
A lot of crypto's on sale right now.
Yes, it's on. That's a huge sale considering that when they put the name on the Staples Center, the old Staples Center, when it became the Crypto.com arena, it was at $1.
Yeah.
It's changed. So if you consider the fact that it's at 58 cents right now, it's a fire sale at the moment.
Yeah.
It's on sale for real.
100%. And so the reason I completely support what Daniel was saying earlier about if you can't sell it to your other half, either A, get a new other half, or B, learn how to sell better, because it's important. It truly is. But you also have to put the work in. I didn't just get that mentorship and then sit on my ass. I got the mentorship, learned the information I needed to learn, and applied it to my life because I needed it. But even from that mentorship, it didn't teach me what I just told you guys a couple seconds ago about each credit reporting agency being your own personal piggy bank. That didn't teach me. I learned that on my own through my studies from what I learned in the mentorship. And then that taught me everything else. Like once that's where the name Credit Union Captain came from. After I got the mentorship and I learned how each one is separate, they don't talk to each other, everything, boom, exploded from there. So if you can talk to your other half, whoever, male, woman, dog, whatever it is, if you can talk to them.
I just know that there's somebody out there that just is see this in the future. And they're going to look at their dog and they're going to be like, "See, he gets us."
I'm not excluding nobody. Everybody's invited.
Oh, gosh.
Listen, everybody wins. The other one we had prior to CRO and after I'd bought the mentorship. The other one we had was that we were in XRP. And that was another one we had. So XRP, when the news broke about the lawsuit, everybody was a fire sale. Everybody was a fire sale. I said, listen, we're keeping it, right? We're not going to sell it. We're going to buy more, actually. Everybody else is selling it. We're going to buy more. Everybody's buying. Everyone's selling it. Because the lawsuit didn't make sense. If you really think about it, and you're not reading the news and you're thinking logically, which again, Dan, like Dylan, like you said, is a skill that is not taught in school, right? If you're thinking logically, the lawsuit didn't make sense. What are you really suing for? They were stating that, they categorized themselves wrong. Really? Because they have two people on the panel that used to work at the SEC.
Oh,
you
gosh.
really think they're going to categorize themselves wrong if two of people on the board used to work at the same company that's filing the lawsuit? Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody sold. I said, hey, we're going to buy more. Now, ever since we had purchased more, we've been selling. We've been putting it up we were staking it is the word they use. We've been staking it ever since. So we've been making hand over fist in interest on all of our XRP. And we've got over 7,000 XRP. So we're
going to have a crypto show coming too. So everybody loves crypto. Brian told me about the XRP play when it was at 12 cents. We're at 82 cents now. So we're definitely making hand over fist. I had when I was at 12 cents, I bought like $1,200 worth. So we're at 82 cents now. So we're living at the moment. But yeah, definitely we're gonna have a crypto show coming up.
Most definitely. Hey man, I think this is a pretty good conversation. What you think, Dex?
Yeah. We're coming right up on our hour. So if you guys wanna we're gonna go through to the session where we just give some final thoughts. Final thoughts on staying versus leaving. And we'll do like a kind of a round robin that gets everybody's opinion on what they think. Dylan, we'll start with you, man. Staying versus leaving. Should you stay where you are and build in your own backyard, or should you take the risk and go to and find a market that's economically viable? Pick up, leave your family behind, and say, hey, I got to work on this, but I'll be back.
I think that ultimately is a conversation with you and God. And that comes down to what your backyard is. Not every backyard is as lucrative. You know, there are places where we work really hard to get out of that backyard because there ain't nothing to do in that backyard. So we got to get out of here. And if you can get out of there quicker and make something of yourself somewhere else, then that's great. But if you are in a backyard where there's lemon trees and apple trees and walnuts on the ground, and you can make some money. Like, go make some money. You know, try to make it happen. That's one of the things where if you have like a lucrative backyard, I would say if you can't make it at home, you might not be able to make it anywhere. That's where that comes into play, and you got to really take that into account. And as far as the planning goes that we touched on as well, I found it very interesting that everybody here on the panel has to plan for different things. You know, Daniel, he's got a wife, 4 kids. Brian, he's got a girlfriend, right? Do you have any kids, Brian?
Yeah, dog.
No kids he's got to plan for. Dexter, you got 50 girlfriends, no kids. All right.
I'm glad you said something. I'm glad you said something.
And me, like, you know, no girlfriend, 1 kid. So we all have different things that we have to plan for. So I think that for anybody watching this, what you should take away from that most is to really look at your own situation and then take everything into account. Because Daniel has things to account for that I don't have to account for, you know, that Dexter doesn't have to account for. And when you look at all of that, everybody's plans are going to be different.
Yeah.
So don't hear one person's plan and say like, oh, that's what I got to do, because that plan may not be fit for your situation. And so take that into account, plan according to yourself, talk with God. You're going to be all right.
For sure. Appreciate you, brother. Brian, what do you think, man?
I think it depends on your situation, right? So if you are currently deciding whether or not to leave where you are, and you're deciding to move based on decisions other than the news, then it depends on your financial situation. Again, you need a strong support system. I will never do anything again without a strong support system. I can't. I tried it once, and I was literally struggling. I mean, I was overweight, like lost everything, repossession, eviction, everything. Like I've experienced all of the black trifecta besides prison. Like that's something I haven't experienced yet. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I just, because I was too afraid or too ashamed or too nervous, too scared, whatever the phrase is you want to use. I was too nervous to explain my situation to people that mattered most to me, and that was my downfall. So if you're trying to decide whether or not you should leave an environment, you should never stay anywhere because you know somebody. That doesn't make any sense. But you want to make sure if you do leave, you want to make sure your relationship is solid enough so if you can call them and they'll support you. That's more important than anything else. I don't think you should stay somewhere just because you're like, oh, my family's here. That's a terrible excuse. If your family's there, that means you feel safe. So you need to leave. You need to leave. That's more reason to get out. Right. So I honestly think everybody should leave the nest. Like, I mean, all animals do it if you pay attention to psychology and nature. Monkeys do it, birds do it. They all leave the nest at some point. So leaving the nest is a good thing, makes you become a human. Now, when I go back home, I'm literally treated 1,000 times different than I was before. I go back to see my mom, my dad now, you're a whole new person. You've grown up so much. You've matured. This. It's a whole different relationship now than if I would have stayed there, because I know I have a safety net. I know I can always go home to mom. I know that's always there. If something drastic happens, I'm going home to see my mom for sure. There's no question. But because I left and I built a successful surrounding, I'm so proud of you. I love you. You've done great. Leave. I think you should leave, but just make sure everything is just, you have a support system behind you. That's me.
Okay. 100%, bro. I appreciate it. Daniel, any final thoughts on this, brother?
I mean, I appreciate the guys coming on and adding their perspective and comments, man. It was very valuable, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're gonna do this more often too. Have a panel. It's nice to have a good conversation about it, an open dialogue about it, and hear some different perspectives. I think that's good, especially with the topics that we cover, to hear from people all across the United States. Like I said, I'm from Florida. Brian's from Chicago. Dylan is in Texas, and Daniel is in North Carolina. So you kind of get perspectives from all across the United States, and it can help you make an informed decision from there. So tune in with us next time. We appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with us. This has been an episode of the Profit Desk. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Daniel or Dylan, I want to talk to you, bro. Like, are you on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook too. My
Dylan
Instagram is Eyes of DC, and then
I can't remember that, man. Just text me. I'll figure it out.